Elf. Roaring down the long start-finish straight at Barcelona, Circuit de Catalunya, you will reach about 180 miles per hour before braking at or ever so slightly beyond the 100-meter marker for turn 1. Elf is a right-left S-bend which feeds into Renault, the long right-hander. These corners should be attacked as a single series. Drop to second gear, being careful not to lock the brakes into turn 1. Brake too late or run wide and you'll catch the rubber marbles that build up on the left here. Clip the right side apex curbing, but try to take too much and you can unsettle the car on the lip. Move immediately left for the exit, grabbing third gear on the left side curbing and feed the power in gently. Sacrifice a bit of speed and don't use the entire road on the exit to help your angle and entry speed into Renault. Renault. This long right-hander seems to go on forever. You should still be in third gear after the exit from Elf. Modulate the throttle and short shift to fourth. Short shifting is when you change up a gear without reaching maximum revs. You will need to hold low revs in fourth gear and wait for what seems like an eternity for the front end to pull in tight to the apex. There is substantial marble and dirt build-up out wide on the left of this corner, so look for the dark racing groove which steadily builds up over the race weekend, and attempt to keep your car centered on that, where you will find the most grip. Floor the throttle later than you feel you want to, and you will be up to fifth gear on the short blast to the Repsol right-hander. Brake hard from fifth and drop to second gear for the entry to Repsol. You can take this corner in different ways depending on your driving style. Some like to brake into an early apex hugging the curb throughout. Some prefer a late apex, staying out wide longer on entry. Both have their merits of course, but the wide entry late apex method is potentially the fastest, but can leave the door open inside for overtaking. And there is of course a fine line out wide between the race groove and the marbles. If you go too wide and catch the marbles, you'll lose loads of time here, and that's assuming you keep the car on the track. The early apex method, where you hug the inside, is much safer, but of course a little slower. Regardless of which way you approach the corner, you will need to be very careful on the exit, as you'll be putting the power down while still turning. Short shift to third and again short shift to fourth to take the engine slightly out of its sweet spot to help you get the power down smoothly, allowing the car to flow out wide to the left. Get over to the right again as soon as you can to help your angle of attack into Seat. Seat is a relatively simple and slow second gear left-hander. Brake fairly early, keeping to the right side of the circuit, and turn in hard, trying to get an early apex on the left side curbing. This will allow you to get on the power early on the exit. There is very little grip offline here, so look for the race groove and try to keep your car on it at all times. The exit curbing out right here is fairly serrated, but if you time your exit properly, you can make use of it to aid your speed down the short blast to the Worth left-right chicane. Worth. You will approach this tricky left-right chicane flat in fourth from Seat. Brake hard staying right and drop to second gear or even very low revs in third and turn in smoothly, just kissing the entry curbing on the left. This corner has varying camber throughout, so look to stay on the race groove for maximum grip. With a well set up car, you can cut some of the corner on the right side by using the grasscrete inside the curbing, but you do risk unsettling the car, making it more difficult to get the power fed in smoothly for a fast exit. Power out in third gear using the left side exit curbing, and you will just grab fourth on the run up to Campsa. Campsa. Approaching in fourth, staying hard left. Drop down to third and dab the brakes to help bring the front of the car in tight to the right side apex. There's a fairly high load on the car in this corner and consequently a lot of loose tyre rubber collects just off the racing line on the left. Be careful not to take your right side apex too early, as curbs and G-forces can push the car out wide onto the marbles. If this happens and you keep it together, you may clip the start of the exit curbing, further unsettling the car. You can use the exit curbing to improve your exit speed if you judge it properly and avoid the curb ends. A fast exit here is important, as the speed you gain will be carried right down the long straight to La Caxa. La Caxa. Brake very hard just after the 100-meter marker and drop down to about 50 miles per hour in second gear. You should try to stay as close as possible to the curb on the left as you pass through the apex. You will need to be careful not to oversteer too much as you feed the power in at the exit. And most drivers suggest that you short shift into third gear as quickly as possible as you accelerate towards Banc Sabadell. Banc Sabadell is a frustratingly long right-hand corner that is usually taken in second gear. You must exercise a great deal of patience here. You'll want to accelerate long before you should start to feed the power in, and many drivers get caught out by putting on the power far too early. The exit is crucial. Just after the apex, allow the car to run out wide to the curb on the right-hand side, and once the car is straightened up, shift up to third and get hard on the power on the approach to Europe car. Europe car and the final corner New Holland demand absolute precision and commitment. Get them wrong and your race will be over. Get them right and they are some of the most exciting corners in GT racing. Europe car is usually taken in third gear at about 100 miles per hour. As you approach in fourth gear, look for the apex, drop it down to third and try to balance the car on the throttle as you pass through the apex, and then accelerate hard into fourth in preparation for New Holland. New Holland. This corner is probably the most important one on the whole circuit. Your exit will determine your maximum speed along the straight and will give you the greatest chance of getting into the slipstream and overtaking your competitors. Most drivers begin to turn into this corner in fourth gear at about 105 miles per hour, and they will be doing in excess of 120 miles per hour as they exit. Your car must be very well balanced, and as you pass through the apex, let the car run to the outside of the track and onto the curbing. Accelerate as hard as you can to maximize your straight line speed.